The co-founder of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, has lost $600 million in just one day after the new Hindenburg report found that his $44 billion company Block, which has a product called CashApp, has easily committed fraud of over $2 billion. And you're not going to believe this, it's apparently the top payment app for sex trafficking and many other criminal activities. But why should you trust the Hindenburg report? Remember, they called out Adani.
After that Hindenburg report, Adani lost more than $100 billion in market cap in a week.
The report has been coming out for about 8 years now. It's quite predatorial, but the reports do expose the truth, so it can be quite helpful for people like you and me. To understand this fraud, we need a little bit backstory. After co-founding Twitter and later being politely fired by his board, Jack Dorsey started a fintech company called Square, later renamed Block. And Block has multiple companies under it like Weebly, Tidal, and our main star for today, CashApp. CashApp soon got the reputation of being an innovative and well-known fintech brand. But on 23rd March, the Hindenburg report came out and their stocks crashed.
The net worth of Jack Dorsey, Block's co-founder, has been hammered after that report.
And that it facilitates fraudulent transactions, even caters to criminals, those who are engaging in sex trafficking.
Block says we intend to work with the SEC and explore legal action against Hindenburg Research.
These are bold claims, and the report is full of shocking evidence. I'm going to tell you the main things through 3 main stories and then summarize our business learnings at the end. Like all businesses, the pandemic was tough for Block as well because its main profit source was small businesses. Then CEO Jack Dorsey tweeted that users could get government relief payments through CashApp immediately with no bank account needed. Over the next 2 years of the pandemic, their platform users doubled and their stocks rose over 600%. But behind the scenes, there was something sinister taking place. Within weeks of CashApp accounts receiving their first government payments, different US states started noticing something scary. Washington suspected fraudulent payments of more than $200 million, Arizona of $500 million, Massachusetts found 69,000 fraud unemployment payments, and so on. This was possible because CashApp had many gaps in their compliance rules, like allowing single accounts to receive unemployment payments on behalf of multiple individuals from various states. Was CashApp unaware of these loopholes? Did it fail to notice almost $1 billion worth of fraud? No. They repeatedly ignored warnings from their employees, the Secret Service, the Department of Labor and state regulators. But why? Maybe because their user base and revenue was close to getting doubled and they didn't want to hamper this growth. But wait, things get much worse here. The company's stock soared because people invested in it heavily since most analysts thought that this surge of 51 million users would drive amazing growth and future opportunities. Of course, they didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. Then co-founders Jack Dorsey and James McKelvey cashed out over $1 billion of stock, while other top executives like CFO Amrita Ahuja also sold millions of dollars of stock. So whoever invested in CashApp basically would lose all their money and inevitably the stocks would come back down. Now, if you thought this story was evil, wait till you hear the next one. Now, with this surge of pandemic users, Block quietly made more money by avoiding a banking law that is meant to protect small businesses. Basically, whenever a store accepts a customer's payment through a credit or debit card, the store's bank has to pay a transaction fee to the customer's bank. This is called an interchange fee. This transaction fee is given to the customer's bank to cover handling costs, bad debt costs, and the risk of approving this payment. There's a banking law in place that puts a limit on how much interchange fees a bank can charge if it has more than $10 billion in assets. Despite having $31 billion in assets, Block avoids this law by using a bank smaller than $10 billion as a decoy to collect higher fees from stores. According to a 2022 report, these predatory fees make up almost 1/3 of Block's revenue. Not only that, their conversations to their investors are centered around monthly transacting actives and not the actual number of users. Why? Because if one user had multiple accounts, that would make this metric shoot up. It's only after 8 years that they finally put together a team to figure out what the real number of users are, and there's been no concrete answer yet. Multiple former employees have come out saying that almost 70% of accounts on this platform are either fake or use of fraudulent activities. When they were asked how often it happens that one user has at least 12 or more accounts, they said it happens 60 to 70% of the time. Why would someone make so many accounts? Because they're moving money through a series of accounts to disguise its connection to a criminal activity. This takes us to our next story, how CashApp became the main payment app for criminals. If CashApp ever found any fraud, it would only blacklist the account and users could just make a new email ID and create a new account. This was not a secret trick. Everyone knew about it. There's even a music video about it.
I paid them hitters through CashApp. Shooters like Mitchell put holes in the snap out. Junkie with the drugs, I brought some Perkins through my cash out. Got it out the mud, the niggas I love gave me a hand. Top of the place they can read with a tag at. You ain't know I pay shooters through CashApp. Spinning this cat where they walk up and die.
Former employee said that every criminal has a CashApp account. The Department of Justice found that CashApp is used by gangs, including the notorious Sinaloa cartel, to distribute drugs. A leading non-profit organization found CashApp by far the top app used in sex trafficking. As of March 2023, the company made a recent change that now requires a full 9-digit social security number in order to secure a cash card. It's a positive change, but 10 years too late. Okay, while we were editing this video, Block finally released an official statement on 30th March. This was their last chance to share a little truth and maybe save their souls. But, of course, what do you think happened? They started by addressing the biggest claim, which was the fake users part, and for the first time, they revealed their actual user numbers instead of the transacting invites. But even this number is shady because they basically gave themselves a benefit of the doubt by assuming that all social security numbers are being used by the rightful owners, which is highly unlikely because of the compliance gaps that we've talked about before. Oh, and get this, their justification for inflating user numbers was that other companies do it too. So what? It's fine, right? This is so evil that it's basically funny now. Also, remember that billion-dollar fraud during the pandemic? They low-key accepted that they did see some fraud transactions, but then they went on to defend their compliance policies and basically avoided the topic. That's also the basic theme for the rest of their statement. They just avoid the rest of the claims and try to reassure everyone that it's their top priority to fix fraud activity on their platform. Yeah, everyone believes you. Definitely on top of Santa's goody-goody list this year. There's been radio silence from Jack Dorsey on this matter. He is still a billionaire, so he'll probably just escape with a warning from the government because it's not like he's done this before, right? Now is my favorite part. There are 3 great business lessons here. Firstly, whether you're using any payments or banking service as a business or individual, please never give the benefit of doubt to any of these platforms and pay close attention to how a platform makes money from you. Secondly, as investors, we need to look at valuations very, very carefully today. Even before this report, Block reported a 1% year-on-year revenue decline, a gap loss of $500 million in 2022, and the company had warned that it may not be profitable for a long time. Despite this, it was severely overvalued. Thirdly, as growing entrepreneurs and freelancers, this story shows how the idea of fake it till you make it and prioritizing growth over sustainability can backfire badly. Here's a video to help you sustainably grow your business, and here's another case study.